Hello everyone, I'm Joe Ackourey, and welcome to the Fly of the Week. For this episode, episode 55, I'll be tying the Baetis Mayfly Adult stage. If you followed me in my previous two episodes, I tied the Baetis Nymph and the Baetis Emerger, all of which are commonly known as the Blue-wing Olive Hatch. This hatch typically happens around mid-March and lasts till about mid-April, maybe a little bit longer, third week of April. But I highly recommend you add in this whole life cycle to your arsenal. You got the Mayfly Nymph, the Emerger, we're tying the adult stage now, and actually there's another stage, the spinner stage, which I will probably add to episode 56. So, without further ado, let's get started. All right, guys, here we go. The Baetis Adult. I'm going to represent this with a Compara. I love Comparadons. I love tying Comparadons. This is going to be a tiny one, an 18 or 20s. The Baetis are commonly found in those sizes, 18s, 20s, 22s. So let's get started. Now, the first step to tying this Comparadon, this Baetis Comparadon, is finding out where the wing is going to be set. So, like previous episodes, I showed you a method where I like to wrap my thread back to the midway point of the shank and then wrap back up half of that. That's the sweet spot, guys. That's right where that wing is going to go. Now, for these tiny Comparadons, my wing method that I've taught you in the previous episodes is critical, because you end up with that big bulky bump on the back if you don't use the method. So I'm going to get some deer hair here for my wing, and I chose the darker shade of my Comparadon deer hair. It represents the Baetis wing perfectly. So I selected a bunch, very, very small bunch. I'm drawing out all the fuzz that may be in there, and it's just a little bit. And then I'm going to place this in my hair stacker. Let's see what we got here. Nice. Nice even ends. Okay. Now, the length of the wing goes as follows. We're going to measure the length of the wing, because we're proportioning materials to a hook. So I like to use the length of the shank and then include the eye for my total length of my wing. That looks pretty close. So now I'm going to tighten my thread up. I like to spin my bobbin a little bit. Doesn't matter, clockwise, counterclockwise, just to get it nice and tight. And I'm going to put that measured wing in that sweet spot. There we go. Oop. Yeah, the smaller the bunch, the harder it is to navigate this thread here. There we go. Now, you're going to wrap 12 wraps. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 wraps around that bunch of deer hair for the wing, and then just take it off. The goal here is to put a crease in the wing, which I've clearly defined. I have a clearly defined crease. And what that crease does is compresses the deer hair, and on my very first wrap, after I take it off and reapply the thread, you could noticeably see how much deeper the thread bites into the deer hair, which will help me guide this deer hair around the shank of the hook so that I could distribute that bump. And then tighten it up. What, 8 or 10 wraps. Clip off your excess now, guys, now that the wing is anchored. But you want to clip it off on an angle, a really critical angle, so that you don't have too much of a bump there. Now, you want to wrap through those cut ends. And then get your scissors and clip off as much of those ends as possible. And again, we're tying a size 18 or 20 here, and the smaller you go, the harder it is to attach this wing. So now pick up your bunch of deer hair, build up some thread in the front of the wing, just dam some up, and then fan your wing out. That wing is done, guys. Got a couple wild hairs here I'm going to get rid of. A couple in the back, on the side. Okay, now, nice wing, as you could see. Now we're going to return our thread to the back where the shank and the bend meet and prepare for our tail. So the wing is equal to the length of the hook and including the eye, length of the hook shank and including the eye. The tail is going to be the same. So I selected a medium done hackle. It could be medium done or dark done hackle from the side of my neck. And I'm going to draw the fibers down until they're perpendicular to the stem. Like so. Okay. So now we want to pull our tail fibers so in the direction that the tail is going to be pointing. So I'm going to grab a bunch about a 1/4 inch or less. Squeeze that really tightly and pull the main feather away and just kind of tap the ends here, and there's your perfect tail. Measure, again, the length of the shank of the hook, including the eye. Pop that right in that sweet spot there. Boom. Blend in. Let me get that a little bit long there. Blend in the excess tail material with the excess wing material so that you have a very smooth transition when you go to dub the body. Clip off the excess. So you want that the excess of the wing to meet the excess of the tail. So then you have a nice, relatively smooth taper, like so. So I'm going to lift the tail up a little bit, grab it, kick a wrap or two under the tail, and fan it out. I like a fan tail on my Compara duns as opposed to a split tail. I like the way that the fan tail distributes the weight of the fly on the water and helps it float better. Okay, so we're ready now for the body. This is shaping up to be a really good looking tiny Compara dun. So we're going to use my Blue Wing Olive Fur Blend for this Baetis Adult. I'm going to draw out super fine amounts of this blend. And you can easily dub this down to a 28 or smaller. My blends work really well on smaller flies. Just kind of touch dub that. You can see how fine it is. Slide that into position and go to work. Okay, I'm going to kick a wrap under the tails and then on top. The skinnier the better on this fly, guys, I'm telling you. I'm saying that because I've noticed over the years of fishing, many years, these trout, these selective trout, they like a nice, tiny, skinny, sparsely tied fly. Like so. I mean, that's perfect. Nice and tiny and skinny. Take your time. Do it right. I'm going to get out a couple of these extra wild hairs there. This fly is pretty much done. I'm going to tie my finishing knot by hand. Guys don't want to miss this hatch. This usually kicks off the start of the mayfly hatching season. which the Baetis typically start hatching in my neck of the woods mid-March, and they last through mid-April, sometimes a little bit longer. But yeah, it offers some fantastic dry fly fishing. Guys, there it is. The Baetis Adult. Great little pattern. Easy to tie. And there's nothing like fishing a Compara down. These flies are indestructible. Great fly. All right, guys. I appreciate you supporting my channel, and thank you for joining me today, and looking forward to seeing you in my next episode where I'll be tying the Baetis spinner. All right, guys. Tight lines. Thank you for joining me.